Now I am inviting our second speaker, Dr. Bhaskar Bhatt. Dr. Bhaskar Bhatt, sir. Dr. Bhaskar Bhatt, sir, is like lively book. From him, we can learn in all sphere of life in addition to homeopathy. He is renowned homeopath, not from Ahmedabad, Gujarat, but well-known personality across the India. He is not only my teacher, guru, he is my role model. He passed DHMS from Gujarat First Homeopathic College in 1977. Stood first in final year DHMS. Started homeopathic practice in 1978. So vast practical experience of over 4 decades. Managing trustee of Hari Charitable Trust. This trust running 6 homeopathic clinics in Ahmedabad. Also trustee of R.K. Desai Samarpan Trust.
Oh,
Is panel doctor of ISRO and ONGC. Was elected member in council 1983, and at this moment also, at present also, he is member of council appointed through government. We all are aware that the Homeopathic Medical Association of India is largest organization of in India of homeopath, and sir was unanimously selected as secretary, general secretary of HOMI, and same way after that unanimously selected as national president of HOMI. Was Adhyaksha of Arogya Bharati Gujarat Pant for 12 years. Sir had presented many lectures in state and national seminars and has been actively involved in organizing and conducting many seminars across the India. He is open-minded and ardent learner, ready to learn from anything and anybody. He is voracious reader also. He is true lover of homeopathy and always need to take homeopathy on greater height. For that, he take action and spend his valuable time to take homeopathy at new height. In spite of very busy schedule, he takes out time to give practical training to the upcoming doctors. And every year he gives this training to 15 doctors, and this since last 30 years. Always available for guidance to fresh practitioner. Generous motivator, keeps encouraging upcoming talents. Always accessible and available, honest to all invitation, and respected person in engaged family, always and real life example of Odessa. This is the brief introduction of Dr. Bhaskar Bhatt. Sir, now with due respect, I invite you for your presentation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ketan. Before we start about this, I will talk about my relation to NGH also. Particularly long back, when we were very young in the practice. I read a book of Dr. Salah Sonara's book, Sapien Legacies, in late 80s. We had a group of people in Ahmedabad running HMI unit. We discussed the matter with Dr. R.K. Desai, and we said let's have a seminar with her. And in 1990, Salaben and Vishpala, they came to Ahmedabad and left a memorable impression on everyone's mind. We realize how we can look at the medicine, we can look at the patient, we can learn homeopathy, and that too particularly they explain a lot of remedies and patients background. Within 2 years, when NGH started, Hari Kaka, the trustee of Hari Charitable Trust, he told me to select best cases, 3 best cases out of the entire year NGH issues. He said, we would like, from the trust, we would like to give an award to these 3 cases. So that's the reason I have to read that part. So I read the entire NGH issues for the 92, and then it becomes a part of my life or my journey to homeopathy. I realized that everybody who is contributing, who is writing, who is expressing, is teaching something which is very, very important. Then actually, in a later part actually, I won't take much time because we have a shortage of time. I joined NGS team in the almost in this decade, and I met these people, all the editorial part, and I learned the discipline, the dedicated working, rather deadline they used to maintain, and then I realized why NGS is the best. Since so many years, every student that comes to me for clinical training, I should tell them, read NGH, be a member, and many of them, or most of them.
But everybody is saying so, it has to be good, na? Let's see.
Many of them are still.
I think that Jallikattu, know that festival name was both controversy.
Who is talking?
Your mic, please, Rashmi.
So, actually, I congratulate Dr. Vishpala and the NGS team for maintaining an excellent standard of the journalism, particularly in homeopathic journal. This is the best journal that I had ever seen. And I wish Dr. Vishpala, Mr. Ravi Parsarthi and the family a very healthy and happy life ahead. And I'm also wishing her a very happy birthday, which has just gone. So very happy birthday, Dr. Vishpala.
Thank you so much.
So, and now we'll start with the lecture as it is getting late. So today we are going to talk about a miasm or nosode and its therapeutic utility. The utility of miasm also and utility of nosode. But with this half an hour or almost I think 45 minutes, let's see what we can do. આજે છે ને આ સ્ક્રીન આ છે આ છે સ્લાઇડ શેર કરી આપણે right. So first of all we'll begin with a case actually. So this is a case of a 2-year-old boy. He came on 27th June 2012. It was a known case. He came with all reports. Left vesico-ureter reflex, grade 4. When patient was 5 months old, 5 to 6 months, he had sudden and recurrent high temperature. His brother had the same complaint earlier, and he was operated for that. So they went to the pediatrician. This child is also having the same problem. So urine analysis and the MCU report were done. This report says left kidney, thick wall, pelvic calcium system, mild fullness of pelvic calcium system, and left ureter present. But there is a MCU examination is needed. So they undergone the MCU examination. I hope everybody is listening.
Yes.
This MCU examination shows urinary bladder appears normal, no filling defect seen in the bladder. Small para-aortic diverticulum is seen, and near vesico-aortic junction on left side with grade 4 vesico-urethral reflex. No posterior urethra valve seen, grade 4 left vesico-urethral reflex and normal urethra. So doctor explained them that this is a condition which was there in the earlier child also, and he has to undergo operation. Watch and wait. If he is improving after getting older, then it's all right. Otherwise, operation is needed. And if problem recurrent infection comes, we may go for operation earlier. So this report was on 27th of June 2012. Again, they took treatment for 1 year from that pediatrician for recurrent UTI. And then again, they go for the report. Presence of small para-aortic diverticulum seen near the vesico-aortic junction on left side with grade 4 vesico-aortic junction. So in this report, there was no change. Doctor said, left vesico-aortic reflux, no appreciable change seen in the extent of reflux on the left side compared to the earlier, that was before 1 year. So after 1 year treatment, they felt if we have to go for operation like earlier son, better to go to homeopathy. So they came to me. We took detailed case. I am not going to give you the case actually, but we selected the rubrics after taking the case, and these were the rubrics. This 2 years old child was careful, he was clinging, he was obstinate, he had epistaxis, constipation, stool hard, then soft, first soft, then hard, and he was fastidious, very meticulous. He was keeping his things properly at the age of 2. So with this rubrics, I went to repertory, and LICO was a remedy which covers all the rubrics. So at first talk, I felt this is the remedy we should start. But then when I look at the family history, look at the past history of his brother, I said, or I told to the doctor who was taking my case in my clinic, that this is not the remedy. He requires, he has got psychotic miasm. His development has been delayed. There is a growth of the ureter is not proper. So he requires antipsychotic remedy. Okay, sir. So on 27 June 2012, we didn't give any remedy from the separate chart. We gave Thuja Vanem. It was playing a role in family, and the development was not happened. So what happened? Let's see the follow. So after within 15 days, child came with fever, and we meant it that Thuja is working, and let's go for an acute remedy of the Thuja, arsenical, which was given in Vanem potency. Dissolve 3 pills in water, and then every 2 hourly 1 teaspoon water, medicated water, the child used to take. After 15 days, they said arsenic was once used. So again, I gave Thuja Vanem and arsenic as an SOS. If by chance he is getting fever or infection, next month in August, there is no complaint, but frequent urination was there. Again, Thuja. In July and in September, 17 September, he had a fever again. Again, Thuja 1 dose and arsenic. October, he was better. He was given SL. November, Thuja Vanem and SL. December also, he was better. We stick to SL. End of the December, they were going out for a tour. So they said, डॉक्टर साहब वो देखे रखो, वो आप पानी वाली दवाई, कभी बुखार आ जाए तो काम लगेगी. I said, okay, keep it with you as an SOS, but stick to the SL. 29 January 2013, he was feeling better, but since long Thuja was not given, I again repeat it, because psychotic remedies, for a psychotic cause, you need to repeat at least a month or 2 or 3, depend upon the intensity. In February, again there was mild fever, arsenic was given. It was repeated after a week also because of the cold and cough. March, there was colic but not serious. I said, don't need medication, go for Thuja. Again March, He was better. He gained 1.5 kg in last 9 months. And they were very happy that his growth is good and he is very active. I said, okay, let's carry on. In April, SL was given. On 15th May, fever, cold, cough, Thuja 1 dose and arsenic as SOS. And I told them that now it has been 1 year, go for the MCU report and let's see what's the progress. So on 29th May, 13, report was this: normal MCU, posterior urethra shows no change as compared with previous study, left vesicoureteric reflex seen in previous study is regressed, on present study no reflex is seen. So this case, sorry. Yes, this case also shows that psychotic remedy and acute remedy related to the miasmatic remedy work following each other to rectify the development defect. His acute problems are almost controlled, or rather every time he responded, but the chronic problem gradually reduced. And this is the actual report of the from the laboratory, where they say it was all normal MCU examination. Posterior urethra shows no change as compared with previous study. Left vesicoureteric reflex seen in previous study has regressed. On present study, no reflex can be seen. Since then, they realized that the earlier child would not have been operated if you could have been here for the medication. Now, this is what we want to learn. This miasm is something which is important. Why it is important? You know, medical science in any pathy, be it Ayurvedic, allopathy, homeopathy, they all give importance to etiology. Etiology has been defined as a theory of causation of any disease or a sum total of knowledge regarding the causes, why somebody is getting sick. Every system of medicine, no matter whether it is anything, asserts with conviction that for an effective and permanent cure, the cause of the disease or sickness must be eliminated rapidly, gently, and permanently. The last sentence is typically a Hahnemannian quote that cause is to be removed, everybody agreed in all sciences, but it should be done rapidly, gently, and permanently. That's what Dr. Hahnemann insisted. He taught us, and we are all trying to learn that part, doing that part. So how Hahnemann came to this theory of chronic diseases? He has written this in his chronic disease book actually, to find out then the reason why all the medicines known to homeopathy failed to bring a real cure in the above mentioned diseases occupied me since the year 1816. So this is what he is writing in 1829 when he wrote the chronic diseases. So before 13 years, he has started thinking about it. It occupied me since the year 1816, night and day, and behold, the giver of all good things permitted me within this space of time to solve the sublime problem for the benefit of mankind after unceasing meditation, through unremitting thought, inquiry, indefatigable research, careful observation, and the most accurate experiments made for the welfare of the humanity. See, try to understand. Hahnemann didn't give any theory easily. This particular theory, when he gave, he says, I did a lot of meditation, lot of thinking, lot of inquiry, lot of research. I observed for a long time. I made experiment, and then I realized that this is important. So after all this study, he said that miasm is important. Thus, miasm is a root cause for many illnesses that one suffers. And there are many controversies regarding miasm theory, particularly its utility. Every homeopathic accepts the theory of vital force, theory of potentization, but miasm still remains a mystery for him. So let's understand the clinical part. And the why it is important. Hanuman wrote in the same book that the obstacle to cure of many cases which seem delusionally well defined and yet could not be cured in homeopathic manner with the proved remedies followed in person otherwise healthy by the same or similar symptom, these circumstances could leave no doubt in my mind to the internal foe that is which I had to combat in my medical treatment of such cases. So for him, this was an internal foe which was causing a problem. Anyone used the word internal foe. Before talking ahead, I would like to talk on this point. We are all aware that every living creature has got a lifespan according to its family or species. Like you can say the dog lives for 20-25 years, or elephant lives for 60-70 years, or man lives for 70-80 years, or 100 years even. So the day you are born, there is a reverse counting of life. It is not so that every birthday, every birthday brings you a happiness. At times it causes a tension also, that there is a reverse counting. We all are aware. And it means in normal case, all living creatures are going to die even if they are not meeting with an encounter like accident, poisoning, catastrophe, or other death-producing events. They are going to die eventually with the aging process. So there is something in the cell itself, in the body itself, in the vital force itself, which kills it. So every living creature has a foe within, and that's what Hanuman identified as a miasm. That is what I would like to say. This is what my ideas or my thinking, that why it is there inside, and you are born with it. In earlier days, the dictionary meaning of miasm was infection or noxious exhalation from the putrid organic matter, poisonous article, germs floating in or polluting the atmosphere. So something that was terribly harmful in and around the body is miasm. That was the word used in the Greek and the Latin literature. And this actually part was taken care of by Dr. Hanuman in his thinking. But he explained it in a little broader way. Dr. Hanuman had used the word miasm to denote an inherited susceptibility. So you are susceptible to many problems because you are born with a miasm. A pre-existing disturbances of the patient's life force. The vital force is disturbed from the day you are born, and that is your predisposition. And that's what the reason Hanuman said that miasm is an important part of life. It represents the underlying cause for low resistance. It disturbs the vitality, so the variety of lesions and symptoms which have arisen would not have arisen otherwise, or would not have been produced. They are produced only because the miasm is there. They could not be called illnesses. Rather, they are the dyscrasia or diathetic state which conditions the birth of illness or syndrome. So miasm is not producing directly an illness. It is the cause. Because of presence of miasm, you become sick. Now, this theory of miasm, why it was not accepted easily? See, we all everywhere, when he talk about the vital force, people think, yes, we are living. Our religion says you have got Atma, or our religion says there is a soul, or our religion says there is a conscience or universal conscience in my body, or I have got an energy, vital energy inside, and that is equally there in every living creature. So that was accepted easily, that vital force is there in the body. Then when he says potentization, that reduce the dose and potentize the remedy, and gradually 200 is better than 30 or higher than 30, and 1 m is higher than 200. And that too was accepted. Reason was it gave result. People feel that something is given in the globule form or a water medication or in the form of alcohol even. So that worked and patient is getting cured. So medicine is given. But there was a theory that every disease has got a cause. There's an effect and cause theory in the philosophy. So anything that happens, there must be a cause. And they say the cause must be bacteria or virus or food or some injury or some stress or anxiety, nobody says that there can be a negative energy in the vital force, the destructive energy in the vital force, which you are born with, which gradually make you sick. So it was difficult to digest even by the homeopathic doctors. And so many used to discuss, or I mean, they used to actually talk that, sir, if you are giving somebody causticum and it's antisoric also, so why we need soranum also or sulfur? So causticum is enough. I said, good, if causticum can cure it, it's a good thing. But after causticum, if symptom remains, repeatedly he is coming with the same problems, then he requires definitely a stronger antimiasmatic. It is not proper that it will work. So every remedy, particularly the chronic remedies, they have got antimiasmatic elements and they help to a great extent, but not necessarily that they can remove the miasm entirely. On the contrary, even with the antimiasmatic remedy, what Hahnemann said, Thuja is antipsychotic, or the sulfur is antisoric, or Mertzol is antisyphilitic, they also help you to calm down the miasm. I won't say that they really remove the miasm entirely from the body. But those remedies are needed in order to help the cure to sustain for a long time or to mute the miasm, the way we are muting the people. So Hahnemann considered them hereditary and therefore considered as a constitutional illnesses. And this is very interesting. It has a code to decide your fate, that how will you die. If you are born with a syphilitic miasm, there is something is going to happen to you in a syphilitic way. And that's what is the miasm you are born with. But then he added that you can also acquire the miasm. And that means a living creature can also die from acquired problems, poisoning, accident, etc., according to the miasm, or this causes a miasmatic problem after acquired from the outside. Now biggest problem is this: how to recognize the miasm which is active or if it is there, and how to take care of it. Usually most of the stalwarts are using their various criteria to identify the miasm which is dormant or active. We'll see in reference to the psychotic only, because our today's plan is to talk about the psychotic miasm. In the Organon, Dr. Hahnemann gave us symptoms of miasm, which is there are symptomatology of the psora, syphilis, and psychosis miasm, and accordingly you can judge on the patient whether he belongs to which miasm. Second part is the mentals, which is already given in the Organon also, and otherwise observed by a lot of stalwarts, Dr. Jeff Allen, Dr. Kent, Dr. Bani Hussein, or even Dr. Hahnemann himself, and they give aptitude, behavior, personality, etc. It will be surprising. Many of us in the student days, in the colleges, actually used to talk loosely. Don't talk to that fellow. Please mute. Somebody
Hello. Please mute your mic.
मग तू हे घेऊन घे मला एक काम ऐक ना मी काय म्हणते
Hello. Please mute your mic.
ठीक आहे
So most of the students in the college days at times use this loose words actually to say that fellow is psychotic, this fellow is syphilitic, that teacher is syphilitic, and actually they have got certain personality pattern, a behavior, attitude in the mind which they talk about when they describe somebody like this. Same thing about various family diseases that patient, we are taking family history and which kind of diseases are running in the family. Or you can say which constitutional tendency to run, to catch cold, or tendency to have dry skin, or tendency to have baldness, tendency to have irregular periods or heavy flow. So all these things, constitutional tendencies and family history also give you an idea that which miasm is running in the family and to the patient also. And lastly, the pathology, which is most important. So this 5 points we will see with reference to the psychotic miasm, and then we'll go for a psychotic cases also, couple of. Particularly, all mentioned criteria suggest a presence of miasm in the patient, but active pathology, it suggests active miasm. So all 3 miasm, 2 miasm, 1 miasm, that is what Dr. Henneman said. Apart from that, syphilitic tuberculosis miasm or carcinogen miasm or even leprosy miasm, which are added afterward. So which miasm is active, that you can decide from the pathology patient develops. Active pathology suggests the activity of that particular miasm, which is very active. There can be 1 or 2 or 3 miasms. So we must treat the strongest and the active miasm in the as a first problem, because the active miasm itself, till it is working, the medicine won't help you. We'll see one by one 5 points about the psychotic miasm. In the organon, Dr. B.K. Sarkar has been, actually I have consulted for this, and he has given these ideas about psychotic miasm. Disease is associated with proliferation and infiltration of tissues. So all kind of warts, tumors, cones, callosities, they are part of it. Even when somebody meets the sudden death, usually sudden death has got syphilitic miasm also, the causes for sudden death. But even psychotic miasm, like valvular heart disease, and somebody dies suddenly, that was a psychotic miasm which created the death. The pains are emulated from dryness. They prefer the dryness. Damp weather create problem. Suspicious nature, cross and irritable, deceitful, jealous, cruel, and vindictive. Now, when Henneman wrote these things, actually in those days, he said 80% of the people are sorry and remaining 20 are psychotic and syphilitic. And for him, these are all symptoms. But nowadays, if you go to the people, when you are listening to patients and meeting the people, you will realize that suspiciousness is a strong feature of human mentality, irritability, even deceitfulness, cruelty, vindictiveness. Apart from that, greed to collect the things, maximum. They need more money, bigger bungalow, bigger cars. They need everything high, bigger and bigger, higher and higher, more and more. And that is all typical psychotic miasm. I will say I had seen in my practice that almost more than 50% of the patients nowadays that we are seeing, they are psychotic and not sorry. There may be a difference because in 18th century, people were living in a natural atmosphere, less communication, less traveling. They are living with the nature, eating the normal food, natural food. Now you have to ask for organic fruits and vegetables. In those days, it was so easy. So at that time, soric miasm was prevalent. But in this era, I had seen psychotic miasm strongly active in the most of the, patients. I would say nearly 50% of the patients. Recovery is slow, and that's what we are seeing. Even patients have come for acute, and they have got a lot of chronic complaints which last for a long time. Warty growth, gouty complications, valvular disease, rheumatic disease, rheumatic heart, and they are aggravated by eating meat. And this is what he has written in Germany, where non-vegetarian or meat was a common food, and he said, or this psychotic people, they are aggravated by it. Complaints with abnormal discharges, particularly the thick discharges, rhinorrhea, gonorrhea, otorrhea, sinusitis, leukorrhea, and all these thick discharges are again suggesting that psychotic miasm is active. Pelvic inflammation, all rheumatic problems, joint pain, stiffness, arthritis of various kinds, they are all autoimmune diseases in many sense are related to the psychotic miasm. Aggravation in the damp cold weather. So all these people when you are treating, particularly autoimmune diseases are lasting for a long time. We used to treat them for 3 years, 5 years, or 10 years at times. They require intercurrent psychotic remedy. That's the only way they are getting a quantum jump in their healing process. Even in organ, they have mentioned complaints are worse by resting, worse by bowing, cystic condition of ovaries, cystic formation everywhere in the body, thick or deformed nail. This one I had seen in a lot of people where I have given thuja particularly with a deformed nail as one of the strong symptom of psychotic miasm. Too much or premature gray hair is more related to the syphilitic also, but it is there in the psychotic miasm also. Now the mental or constitutional tendency that we are seeing our masters, the stalwarts, apart from Dr. Hahnemann, other people have mentioned or observed are interesting. Psychotic people are confused. They are unable to decide. They have got a lot of preparation, poor memory. Weakness of memory is a very strong feature. You can think about Barata or Lex or even Medorinum or many remedies which are psychotic, and they are strongly having this problem. They cannot concentrate easily. And you can identify the child from the way the Down syndrome child is sitting before you. You look at it and you realize he cannot concentrate. Restless child, they also need psychotic remedies. There is dullness, secretiveness, suspiciousness, opportunistic, deceitful nature. So a lot of things are together. So this deceitfulness is out of their desire to have more and to work less. So ultimately they have to deceive somebody. Guilt feeling, self-reproach, that is important in lack remedies. All lack remedies like caninum or like delphinum or like equinum that we learned actually from Dr. Vishpala in our actually last seminar. So all these lack people have got guilt feeling. Basically, Homo sapiens, human beings, they are having lack humanum is a strong remedy for this guilt feeling. And all lack remedies are antipsychotic. They have got a lot of fixity. Think about the thuja, fixed ideas, rigidity, ritualistic, superstitious, rustox, clairvoyance feeling, medorinum, extremes of emotions. And they are lazy, sluggish, obese. Apart from that, they have got deformities, growth deformities, underdevelopment, short stature. So these are all part of the psychotic remedies. Now the most important part is how to recognize the active part of the psychotic miasm. When there is an inflammation, see, in any injury or anything goes wrong with the body, even if you are getting COVID or you are getting rhinitis or you are getting any injury or anything in the body, the first change in the body is the inflammation. And this inflammation comes on its own and then goes away. It could be acute psora. If it remains there for a longer time in the treatment, and there is a pain and a lot of problems, but recovers, that is real psora, chronic psora. But when it turns into a hypertrophy, when there is an exudation, when there is an induration, when there is a neoplasm formation, or it changes the metabolism, then definitely it is an active psychotic miasm. And this is important to understand, that when the pathology says that the disease is going for a chronic problem with hypertrophy or with exudation, with indurations, then always you should remember that somewhere in the picture is a psychotic remedy which requires, and that's the way you can go ahead. The feeling is of a fixed, irremediable weakness deep inside the self. This is another part. Psychotic miasm has got a deep feeling that I am weak. The thuja has got delusion, he is thin, he is fragile, legs are made of the glass, he is short, he is not able to do the things, and the fixity doesn't go out of his mind. Almost nowadays the COVID patients, after recovery even, they have got a problem with their lungs at times, particularly in the old age, or with people who have got psychotic miasm, they develop fibrosis. We know what is fibrosis. We are aware. Yeah, ultimately, it is like a sponge. The lung become like a sponge, and when sponge is dry, you can break down it. The fibrosis is a process where after ultimately the tissues get break down. They cannot work. That is one part. And second part is the severe weakness, post-COVID weakness is a feeling that I am fragile, I will get some serious problem, I cannot come out of it, I am so weak, cannot move, sits at one place, and they require, I had given Thuja to almost more than 100 patients in last 2 months for viral infections as an intercurrent remedy for COVID-19, for dengue, for chikungunya, and even for herpes zoster. And that has worked wonder. The results are so fast, people feel so changed that next day they feel, sir, I'm much better feeling now. I'm able to eat. I feel now the strength is coming back. That feeling comes. It is something inside the self which is hidden and concealed. And the last thing is, there is a duality. They hide the things. You know, you had seen the Thuja plant. You don't look at the stem. You cannot look at it. You don't see it actually. The psychotic patient, usually what he is looking, I mean, when you are looking at him, what he is on the face value is not inside. He is different. He is continuously anxious, continuously worrying whether you will come to what he is, or you will come to know that what kind of a man he is. And that's the reason he tried to be shy, timid, avoid talking, sitting, just listening, but his mind is working. So these are all part of psychotic miasm. This is the way we recognize. I will give you a case actually, which is interesting. There's a short case, and then there's a long case also. This girl, not girl, I mean, she's a doctor, and she was my student earlier, long back. She developed fever for 3-4 days and with severe body ache. And she rang me that today I'm feeling much feverish, body ache, burning in the eyes, backache, pain in the throat, appetite is normal, thirst is normal, but something is feeling in the throat. So I said, did you had gone for a test for COVID? She said, yes, sir. That's the problem. All members of my family, they have come positive. My husband, my brother-in-law, and my brother-in-law and husband are obese. Her husband is 100 kg, brother-in-law is 125 kg, and he has got diabetes also. That dear, not Dia, but dear. So that dear had gone to the hospital. He said, I won't wait. I've got a fear that something will go wrong, and he was admitted. But all other members of the family, they asked for the medication, and actually this doctor, she said, I've got tremendous anxiety for my kids only, for my mother-in-law, and for my husband. What will happen to them, and who will take care of us, because I am not well, and it's my duty to do it. And I gave her Kalikap and Thuja alternate in water for 3 days. From next day onwards, she was feeling better. Within 3 days, she was absolutely normal. She took quarantine almost for a month because everybody in the family was one by one getting this positive report. And they came out of it almost after, all the family came out after a month actually. This was her first report on actually 10th August. COVID-19 detected. This was real-time PCR. Then in the September, she had again gone for the test, and this was negative. And now she's still working regularly. Yeah, work here wonderfully to help the regular medication. This is another case, this is a chronic case. Actually, this woman, 52 years old, came to my clinic in 94. She is running a Guru Udyog, making papad, mathia, etc. She had left sciatic nerve pain. Sciatica was there, left-sided, backache since 7 years. She was on some Ayurvedic medication and that causes acidity. So she wanted to leave it. She had warts on the back, stomatitis, diabetes since 4 years, good appetite, desire sweet and salt, sleep disturbed, bowel normal, perspiration normal, thirst normal. Periods earlier it was irregular and scanty. Menopause since 5 years, and she's a chilly patient. She had a history of typhoid, dysentery, abortion once, hernia operated. Her father is diabetes, mother died of brain hemorrhage, husband has asthma, paternal grandfather has TB, father-in-law has cancer and diabetes. It is not hereditary for her, but father-in-law is having cancer. That was a stress to the entire family because they have to take care of it. Her mother, maternal aunt actually has leukoderma, and one of the daughter has got asthma and skin disease. So she had family history of multiple miasmatic problem, syphilitic miasm, psychotic miasm. Now, when we asked about her family, she said her husband is not working, so I am running this growth job. And after 5-10 years, I taught him to deliver. Now he's a delivery boy for me. He's doing all the job. But I have to work because I have to maintain the family. She's got dreams of snakes, religious personality, weeping disposition. And she has got 8-10 women coming to her house to help her for this purpose. And they are paid. Please don't.
Hello. Please mute yourself. Hello. Please mute.
She has got a weeping disposition, and these 8 or 10 workers who are coming to her house to help her actually for this mathia and papad business. Whenever they have got any problem, she gave them extra money. She gave help to them. She goes to their house helping them. She is very sympathetic, and she likes company. We went to the repertory, and then other rubrics we took: industrious, hurried, dictatorial, loquacious, fastidious, forgetfulness, indifferent. And Causticum was selected. She was given Causticum 1 dose. After almost 1 month, she came with increased pain. We gave Madurinum.
Hello.
And
Please mute. Some interruption is there. Please mute your mic.
these 2 remedies, Causticum and Madurinum, was given to her for almost 1.5 years, and almost all pains, backache, sciatica, everything has gone down. Diabetes, she is already taking medicine, which has gone down, but still she was on that medicine. And then she left the treatment after 2 years. But she said, I've got no peace nowhere. Now people ask me this question, so I've taken these 2 slides more actually. People say when Thuja and remedies are available, which remedy will be as an anti-miasmatic?
Hello. Please mute your mic, please.
This is the last 2 slides. I'm sharing you with this was a question asked. Somebody asked me long back that which anti-miasmatic, particularly antipsychotic, will prefer, Thuja or the Madurinum. They have got 2 different ideas and 2 different values. Thuja is a plant. It has got a feeling that body is brittle, body is delicate, mind and body are separated, being injured, aversion to touch, fixed ideas, dreams of falling, warts, vaccinosis. So the sensitivity of this remedy is stronger and higher. Fixed ideas are also strongly there. Dreams of falling, it is one of the most important remedy. And formation of warts is now it becomes an international remedy. All skin specialists, allopathic doctors, many of them are using Thuja for the warts without any history or without any questioning. But Madurinum is different. Madurinum has got tremendous anxiety. Particularly if time is set, he is anxious. If there is anticipation, he is anxious. He has got feeling that somebody is talking behind him. He is suspicious. He is feeling time passes too slowly. There is forgetfulness, weakness of memory. And this is a remedy made from the nosword, Konopogl nosword. I have seen that all noswords have got something related to the mind also special. Professing or disagreeable event. Now, professing is something which comes in the drug remedies that people after drugs at times they feel that they can say something about the future also. But Maruinum is one remedy which has got this particular tendency, and that he always prophesy about the disagreeable event, something bad is going to happen. Thinking of complaint aggravates is another important rubric which is not there in the Thuja. So psychotic people who says, sir, yaad kariye hame when we remember and we get the headache. When I remember the back pain is there and I started, my back pain starts. So that is typical of Maruinum. Aversion to being touched is there in both the remedies. But suppress UTI and gonorrhea, these are wonderful. And sleeps in knee chest position. This is exactly a psychotic child, typical psychotic child, and they always require antipsychotic remedies. Actually, it is already in 9:10. So, with this talk, actually, I would like to share something, few different things. That miasm is an important part in homeopathy practice. Everyone should think differently. We need anti-miasmatic remedies in between the treatment of acute as well as chronic. Nowadays, I had seen in last 6 months with acute fevers, COVID or no COVID, it can be dengue, chikungunya, common cold, but a dose of an antipsychotic remedy as intercurrently will work wonderful. It gives results within 3 days. You will realize that yes, this is what the patient is needed, patient needs. And chronic cases, definitely in the long run, when the medicine is not working, you feel that now pain has improved to a certain extent. Psoriasis is, controlled to a certain extent. Eczema of 20 years is controlled to a certain extent. Then you require anti-psoriatic or anti-syphilitic or antipsychotic, depend upon the case that you are studying. But this should be an important part of the homeopathic practice. So I'm thankful to the Dr. Ketan Shah first for the interesting actually introduction where I have to learn about myself also. I am thankful to the entire board, NGH editorial board. They are really a very sincere, hardworking people, and I learn to work hard from them. Actually, I'm a lazy person otherwise. Dr. Vishpala, she is a marvelous person. We have got no words for her because she leads the team since last 28 years. And apart from that, she understands everybody's problems. She understands every small things, and she tries to take care of everyone in a different way. And she's a very lively doing. We had a lot of dinners at her home for every EV meeting, and we cannot forget that. Particularly Dr. Tiwari sir, Dr. Kasim Sindhana, and Dr. Asrani, they have been a really guidelines to the entire NGH issues. Thank you very much. The listeners particularly, I will say that join NGH as a subscriber for a lifetime, and definitely your practice will double. So thank you very much. Thanks, Dr. Ketan. And if you have got a questions, answer.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. We have a question for both of you. Thank you very much, sir, for your description in detail about today's miasm, psychotic miasm, through cases, and it's really clear-cut indication of psychotic miasm. As I know, sir, since last 30 years, and I can say in one word that sir is authority of miasm, or as a use very frequently anti-miasmatic remedy in his practice. Thank you very much, sir. Now I have a question for Rama madam, and if anybody wants to ask question, please write down in chat box. Rama madam, someone asked your number and address who wants to refer you patient. I suggest him that please refer NG at first page. All EB's address and phone number are there. And one more question for Rama Madam, that for herpes zoster case, is there any allopathic medicine was going on with herpes zoster case? Was there any allopathic medicine?
No allopathy at all. This is a patient who has been on homeopathy all the way,
Okay.
not even for diabetes.
Okay, thank you, madam. Now, question for Bhaskar sir. Thuja was covering selected rubric or on base of miasm?
It was given on the basis of the miasm, anti-miasmatic remedy. But any anti-miasmatic remedy usually has some symptoms in the patient. Otherwise, you cannot prescribe. You are finding something in the patient, then and then you prescribe the Thuja or Merovinum, or even other anti-miasmatic. At times, I had given Calcrea or even Rustox, or at times some other remedies which are anti-miasmatic. There is a list of remedies in the organon.
Okay. Sir, one more question. How autoimmune disease come under psychotic miasm?
Yes, good. See, immune system in the body, how does it work? When you go to any animal, think about the response. The first response of a living creature is to fight back. That response is miasmatic. From the inside, vital force try to help you to fight with the problem, and vital force is trying to help you out. The miasmatic part controls you, so you are unable to control the immunity, and you are getting itching, or you are getting urticaria, or you are getting arthritis, or any other problems related to that immune problem. So your immunity should come out, which is not coming out because of the presence of miasm.
Okay, sir. One more question. At what interval you prescribe Kali and Thuja? When you prescribe two remedies, what interval you prescribe?
It depends upon the patient's need. In a very acute case, that Dr. Seth, Mrs. Seth, whom I gave Kalikab and Thuja alternately every 2 hourly for the 3 days. At 2 o'clock Kalikab, 4 o'clock Thuja, 6 o'clock Kalikab, in water actually, 1 teaspoon of water, medicated water. Now there was an acute anxiety, acute fever, COVID present, they were under stress, and she had a lot of other physical features of Thuja actually, which was considered. So we gave both the remedies to help each other to find out, to come out of the acute problem. But in cases of arthritis, suppose that woman was given Merovinum and Causticum for sciatica and backache. That was actually every alternately 2 months or 3 months, depend upon the pain and depend upon the symptoms that patient presented.
Okay, sir. One more question. If small child come with premature graying of hair, what should we consider? It's syphilitic or psychotic?
It can be syphilitic or psychotic. In that case, you are supposed to study the family history. Whether father is what is having, what kind of mother's problem, their background, their diseases, which other things are running in the family. Either there is a baldness or there is a strong syphilitic miasm. You have to find out from recurrent ulceration. But if says no, everybody has got a low height and they are small stature, it is psychotic. So you are supposed to consider miasm by the physical, mental background and the diseases present in this family also.
I'd like to add over here, sir. The case where I had second case which had early graying was a clear-cut case of suppression due to very high fertility treatment. And that's when she turned gray.
Yeah,
So it was psychotic in that case.
Okay. Sir, one more question.
Yes.
In hypothyroidism case, TSH is increased and T3 and T4 are normal. Then which miasm we can consider? See,
all kind of thyroid problems, particularly, or not only thyroid, endocrine problems, they begin with the sora, because there is an emotional upheaval, emotional stress that affects the brain, that affects the actually posterior pituitary, which produces hormones controlling other glands actually. So basically, emotional part is to be studied in those cases. They are antisphoric first. Gradually, if there is a background of a psychotic miasm, it comes out gradually. And if the, suppose a case come out with a strong actually problem with the sterility, it goes to even syphilitic side. So you have to study the case with background of every system together, not one system and one symptom.
Okay, sir. One more question. Along with miasmatic medicine, it is advisable to give constitution medicine also in autoimmune disease.
Definitely you will need it. Anti-miasmatic remedy will give you a quantum jump or will open up the case. Somebody has got a lot of allergies and then you realize that there is a strong psychotic miasm and you give a dose of Thuja, but after Thuja, patient come out with an eruptions at particular time only or at particular moment only, and you realize that that is related to certain remedies, which doesn't come out before psychotic remedy was given. So
Okay, sir.
psychotic remedy open up the case. It gives you a better idea for a next prescription.
Thanks a lot, sir. And first, I thanks both the speaker for your valuable time and all participants for listen patiently.
And staying so long. till
Yeah.
the-
Thank you. I need to thank everybody for really being patient, especially with all the technical glitches. Thank you very much, Vishpala ma'am,
We enjoyed a lot actually.
and the entire EB team.
Every time we are enjoying this talk actually. All webinars are really.
And I want to only tell the participants, don't think that we are pushing you to become members. Only if you like to become like NJ, then become members. Okay?
No, see, Dr. Vishpala, I insist them to be a member.